Imagine this. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever enter Boston's renowned TD Garden to play the Connecticut Sun, the team that gave her the notorious eye poke and body check in June. The 19,156 yelling Fever fans in the stadium made this away game feel like home. However, this is something no one anticipated. Clark outscored the whole Connecticut Sun in the last 5 minutes and was on the verge of breaking not one, not two, but 3 WNBA records in one night. What followed will chill you to your core. Comment, "I've got the fever." Let's go if you agree with Caitlin and the Fever. I'm anticipating the same tonight since I know their game last year had a lot of people and a lot of enthusiasm. But personally, I think you shouldn't take these chances for granted. For example, it's always enjoyable to visit a new arena and location. And I anticipate the same thing here tonight, you know. Marina Mabrey's body check on Clark and Jacy Sheldon's eye poke during their most recent meet-and-grab news for all the wrong reasons. It wasn't simply another game on June 17th. The fans were incensed after witnessing a masterful performance of dirty basketball. The referees allowed the physical play to get out of hand. There were several altercations. Players were kicked out. Additionally, Clark suffered a beating that caused the whole basketball community to discuss player safety. We move on to the third quarter. They are 10 behind. Pay attention to Sheldon, which she and Jackie own. Clark is attempting to support her. Clark is doing fine. Sheldon commits a foul. She was struck in the face by Clark. That makes Clark angry. Then that makes everyone angry. Enter Marina Mabrey. Clark is decked by her. Tempers flaring on all sides. You can sense the tension igniting in the air as you move to TD Garden. This isn't just another game from the regular season. It's a personal matter. Knowing exactly what transpired the previous time they met the Sun, Clark enters that iconic arena. She can recall every dirty play, every cheap shot, and every instance where the referees turned their heads. This is where things become fascinating, though. This Fever team has a totally different vibe to it. The commentators here are stating, Marina Mabrey will undoubtedly be evicted because that was not justified. Whether intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant foul called on you. Whether you are trying to intentionally hurt someone or not, this is what they called you guys. Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabrey, and Tina Charles were assessed technical fouls on Tuesday. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. Of course, there should be a flagrant one on Jacy Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. The arena becomes a magical place. Even though it's an away game, the 19,156 fans create an electric atmosphere that makes TD Garden feel like Indiana's home court advantage. The energy is absolutely insane, and you can hear Fever chants echoing through the rafters of this legendary venue. These traveling fans didn't just show up, they took over. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And Jacy Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul and no players were ejected. The Connecticut Sun tries to use the same aggressive defensive strategy that worked before, trying to rattle Clark early with full court pressure and multiple defenders. Their plan is to let other Fever players score, while they concentrate on containing the Snake's heart. However, this time the Fever are prepared, and Clark has her teammates supporting her in ways she didn't have before. The support system is reliable, and each player is aware of their role. You can see it in her eyes during warm-ups, and you can feel it in the way her teammates support her. This isn't the same Fever team that was pushed around in June. This is a squad that came to Boston with one mission: show the Connecticut Sun what happens when you mess with their superstar. The stage is set for redemption as Clark gets the protection she needs to play her game. Career for ally. Clark tries to turn the corner. Goes behind her back to find Howard. The Fever had been struggling to find their identity without their signature fast-paced style. And when they returned the ball to Clark and let her direct the offense, something clicked for Indiana. You could see it right away. The energy changed, the pace quickened, and too many possessions ended in forced shots. The ball was not moving. That's not Fever basketball. That's not what this team was built for. It's okay. You can tell me when I fall. That's fine. Here comes Clark, working against Sheldon. Slices in her, but deceptively she is so quick and fast getting to the rim right here. Gets up the floor with some force here. That's not what this team was built for. Fever basketball. The Connecticut Sun's defense was set up to throw multiple defenders at her every time she touched the ball, pressure her full court, and make her work for every possession. Their strategy was straightforward. Make Clark uncomfortable and make other players beat them. Clark rises to the challenge, pushing the tempo and enlisting her teammates in ways that made the Suns' defense scramble. Rather than forcing shots, she creates for others. And instead of becoming frustrated, she finds a way to beat them. The open man. The ball movement becomes contagious. 22 assists on 29 made baskets tells the whole story. This is what happens when Clark plays point guard correctly. Following a 20-point explosion from Jacy Mitchell, who is finding open looks because Clark's playmaking creates opportunities for everyone, the Sun are no longer able to assist Mitchell and cannot cheat toward Clark when Mitchell strikes. The balanced attack is operating flawlessly, and Natasha Howard dominates inside with 18 points and 13 rebounds. Howard gets easy looks in the post because the Suns' defense is stretched thin, and she's cleaning up on the boards and finishing strong around the rim. This is what happens when you have multiple weapons and the defense can't focus on just one player. Get out. Sophie Cunningham provides vital energy off the bench. Another chance on the O-glass. Cunningham already has 1-3. Make it 2. Then everything else fails. Jacy Mitchell coming down finds her teammate Sophie Cunningham. No passes, no problem. Even Aaliyah Boston contributes with assists and rebounds despite having trouble with her shot. She's the spark plug that keeps the energy high even when the starters need a break. Boston may not be scoring, but she is contributing to the team's victory in other ways. The team's depth is evident, and everyone is prepared to step up when needed. The Fever's gritty 85-77 victory demonstrates what happens when they play their brand of basketball, which is fast pace, ball movement, and multiple scoring threats. This is the basketball that fans came to watch, and while the team was playing at its best, Clark was. While everyone was focused on the team's performance, Clark was quietly chasing 3 different WNBA records. The numbers were quietly building up in the background with every assist, every three-pointer, and every game with 5 or more assists. Boston somehow found Howard. That was a blazing pass. You knew it. How? Sheldon will keep the pressure on Clark. You see Tina Charles with the responsibility of guarding Aaliyah Boston. High hedge on the ball screen on Clark inside perfectly. Clark's shooting numbers looked rough on paper, going just 4 of 14 from the field and 1 of 7 from three-point range. Those kinds of numbers usually mean a bad night for a superstar. But here's where it gets interesting. Clark's overall impact was historic in ways that had nothing to do with her shooting percentage. One thing about Tina Charles is that she has every shot in her toolbox. Now, Sheldon the height disadvantage against Howard. Well, good recognition. The first record fell without much fanfare. Clark became the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 450 career assists in just 53 games, which is absolutely insane when you think about it. To put this accomplishment in perspective, the previous record holder, Tisha Pinero, reached the same milestone in 62 games during the late 90s, and Clark broke that record by 9 full games. 9 games may not seem like much, but in a league where every assist counts, that makes a huge difference. Yes, you were told today that you would be competing in the three-point contest. What factors went into that decision, and what does it mean to be doing it for the first time in front of Indiana fans? Obviously, it's exciting. I've never practiced or competed in a three-point competition before, so just go out there and have fun. I also think the lineup of competitors is amazing, so more than anything, it's just going to be really great for our league and for women's basketball in general, just to, have a lot of fun and an experience that. So yeah, I'm just excited. I think the skills competition on Friday will be a really exciting time, and will lead right into a really great game on Saturday as well. But more than that, Clark became the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 150 career three-pointers, demonstrating her ability to score from anywhere on the court. She's not just a passer. The third record may be the most impressive. Clark extended her streak of 5 or more assists to 40 straight games, which is the longest streak in WNBA history. Over 40 games, she consistently made plays, improved her teammates, and demonstrated her ability to create offense even when her own shot wasn't falling. Nelson Adota grabbed defensive rebounds, and Howard stuffed her. She is a complete player who can hurt you in multiple ways. The speed at which she accumulated these three-pointers shows that she adapted to the professional game faster than anyone anticipated. Think about it for a moment. One player against an entire team. She took over when it mattered most, found her rhythm when the game was on the line, and demonstrated to everyone why she is different from other players. 3 records in one night demonstrate that Clark's influence extends far beyond her ability to score points. She is a complete player who influences winning in multiple ways. Hall picks it up and nails it. The most amazing part occurs in the last 5 minutes. The expression on Caitlin Clark's face after she obviously tweaked her groin in the Fever win over the Connecticut Sun in what has been an injury-plagued season. And whether it was pain or frustration or a combination of both, you could see it weighing on her. In the final minute of what should have been a perfect night, everything changed with one devastating play. She improves her teammates, creates opportunities that didn't exist before, and changes the game just by being on the court. You could tell right away that something was wrong when Clark passed to Kelsey Mitchell for a basket, but she clutched her right leg and grimaced in pain. She looked completely different from her normal self as she walked to the bench, and then she exploded, made the backdoor pass, and grabbed the inside of her right leg. Yes, it looks like she has re-injured her right groin, the same area that had been bothering her lately. This wasn't just a minor tweak, though. This was the same injury that had previously kept her out of commission. The cameras captured her obvious distress and tears on the bench as the reality of the injury set in. Clark was holding back tears and looked devastated. This is a player who rarely shows emotion like this during games. The contrast was striking. 1 minute she's making history, and the next she's fighting back tears on the bench, the same area that had been giving her problems throughout the season. You could tell this was serious by the way she reacted. After that pass, it appears that she is in pain. Sanchez, please. Applause. Music. He had recently been dealing with a groin injury. This is where things get complicated. Groin injuries are difficult to treat, they heal slowly, and they can recur. Regenerative medicine specialist Dr. Jesse Moore emphasized the difficulties of groin injuries, pointing out that even prolonged rest periods may not always be sufficient for full recovery. With All-Star Weekend in Indianapolis just a few days away, the timing couldn't be worse. Clark was supposed to be a team captain and compete in the three-point contest. Her absence would be a huge blow to the league and its supporters. Everyone was thrilled to see her perform in her home state test. But now she's on the bench after appearing to be in some pain. A successful night ends with questions about Clark's availability and health. Coach Stephanie White gave little information, saying only that Clark felt a little something in her groin and would be evaluated. No update. Just felt a little something in her groin. So we'll get it evaluated and see what happens from there. Yeah. Just kind of following up on that, it looked like she was kind of grabbing at her right groin area. That injury clouds what should have been a celebration of her record-breaking performance and the team's 3rd consecutive victory. Concern? Yes. If that's the one she was grabbing at, I'm not sure which one it was. But yeah, that's it. Clark's night encapsulated the highs and lows of professional sports. Historic accomplishments overshadowed by injury concerns, 3 WNBA records broken in one game, and tears on the bench in the last minute. That's basketball at its most emotional and raw. The Fever demonstrated that they can win when it counts most, as evidenced by their 3rd consecutive victory. However, their success is still dependent on the health of their superstars. Availability. This team looks entirely different without Clark leading the offense. As fans, we're celebrating 3 WNBA records and hoping that Clark will be well enough to play in All-Star Weekend. Let's all wish Caitlin a quick recovery in the comments section. Please like, subscribe, and enable all notifications so you don't miss anything.